Gilbert Dionne. Gilbert, just awesome to have you. Thank you for joining me here while I'm in lovely Hawaii and you're freezing your balls off in Ontario, I would imagine.
That's Canada, eh?
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Raw Knuckles. Hosted by Chris Nilan.
Nilan going ballistic. I love it. He's going to hit his own players. He's a madman. He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town. That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine. Bring them all out, Nilan, you freak.
It's going to be sick.
It's funny, I came here to visit, right? Jamie, my wife, is from here. We're visiting family, but no sooner we left. I mean, there wasn't that much snow. And I have a friend of mine, Dennis, staying at my house with my St. Bernard. I have big St. Bernard, so he's house sits and he takes care of the dog. He sent some pictures from the first storm, and then like 2 days ago again, he got buried again, and he sent them. He said, "I'm not trying to make you feel guilty, but I couldn't believe how much snow we got. Oh my God!" And here I am.
Yeah, and then Knuckles, I live in Toronto now these days, and Toronto's not even close to what Montreal can deal with snowstorms, so it's going to take another 3 weeks for us to dig out where we're at. But the funny part is, I told my boss, which is the office a half hour away, when you have a spot on the road and there's a snowstorm happening, you ain't moving that car because you'll never get that spot again. So it's almost like being snowbound at home, and I'm watching out the window every day. Should I move the car or not? I ain't moving it.
Oh, it's unbelievable. But the winter, this is a short month, February. So before we know it, March will be here, April will be here. Listen, let's get going here on the hockey. Enough of the beach and the snow. We got a chance to play together. My last year of my career, I played with your brother Marcel. Growing up, certainly in Drummondville, you're the baby of the family, right? You're 20 years separate you and Marcel, right?
Correct, the youngest of 8, yes.
And now, is Marcel the oldest?
Yes, he is. So he's older. I have another brother, Ronald, that's close of age with Marcel. He's junior hockey here in Ontario also. In St. Catharines back in the old days. And then I have 5 sisters. I'm the youngest of 8.
So as a kid growing up in Drummondville, you're a Habs fan. You had to be, no?
Well, yes and no.
Well, come on, spill the beans.
Well, spill the beans. Let's not forget that the big rivalry at that time. First of all, Guy Lafleur and Marcel goes to the first round overall in 70 draft year, 71. Guy goes first overall to Montreal. Marcel goes second to Detroit Red Wings. 2-3 years down the line, boom, he gets to go to LA. I'm 10, 11 years old. What's in our house with my late parents was the fact that little animosity, why couldn't, the Guy Lafleur Dionne rivalry for many years that we would experience at home. And the Saturday night hockey night in Canada, we watched Guy Lafleur performing many good games, and Marcel with the 10:30 at night, we could only catch it on the radio. My mom stay up late at night and see if Marcel pick up a couple of points, and that was a rivalry type of thing, but not necessarily among the players themselves, not between Guy and Marcel, but family-wise, we just really pushing hard for Marcel to perform and do better than Guy and obviously the Canadiens.
So you're growing up playing hockey in Drummondville and minor hockey. I would have to think that Marcel was your biggest influence when it came to the game, no?
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't around, right?
Correct. He wasn't around, but the name really, did the name help me? Did the name kind of was in the way? A little bit of everything, right? I mean, these facts, what I'm telling is after the fact, right, Chris? I mean, my parents wouldn't tell a peewee age kid, hey, do this, do that, figure out why am I being benched? Why am I not playing enough? Why am I playing too much? Why are parents complaining? Those are the stories after the fact of like what really happened, what was going on during my younger age. But, here I am going to elementary school with this, what you call a beautiful vintage jersey now with the LA Kings purple jersey, really? And the yellow jersey. I had to go show Dionne 16 on my back playing pond hockey, outdoor. hockey with that jersey. It's like I was being taunted all the time.
That thing, right? It was so ugly, right? But now you see that now it's such a classic jersey. When you look back, right at the time, everybody looked at it like, this
Exactly. It
like
became
a clown
vintage,
show.
right?
It was like a clown show, and then
Yeah.
now you look at those old jerseys, like Hartford Whalers, all these classic jerseys from back in the day, and certainly the Kings were one of them. I think I saw them one time. They had a yellow jersey, yellow pants, and yellow socks. I mean, it looked like
All yellow helmets and all.
oh my God, it was anyway. So Bert, growing up playing minor hockey, you played in the Pee Wee tournament, right? Did you feel pressure at all with the name Dionne? Because listen, you could score goals. You're a goal scorer. You could score goals. It's just did you feel that pressure from Marcel? Oh, my brother, I gotta kind of keep up the pace with him.
Not necessarily, but I had some sort of a code, maybe Knuckles, like some sort of how to learn how to do an interview. Like what the heck, you got Pee Wee age now. You see these kids, you don't have to do interviews and stuff like that. But you don't know where to go from. You just gotta go from your heart, right? Tell how you feel and stuff like that. And I had a good Pee Wee tournament with the Drummondville Voltigeur, the AA group, couple of finals during my Pee Wee era. But I mean. Pressure? No, I to be honest with you, I was a late bloomer. I was not really one of the top players on the team. Anytime I played minors, I had some better players around me that were way better. But for some reason, I was first year of learning, second year got better, and then move on, right? I was always a better player playing with the older group than my own age group.
So I read somewhere that Marcel helped you get to Niagara Falls in 86, 87. That was... when I see that, you spoke no English when you went there, right?
No, that's correct. And,
how difficult was that for you? And did Marcel kind of set that up so you would have to go and learn English as a big brother?
I did. I made one move in Quebec City. I ended up going to Quebec City to live with my sister Ghislaine and my late brother-in-law Alan, and just to see if I could make, at least you're a couple hours away. If you're going to get homesick, or if you were. If I was going to have been struggling at school, it would have been easier to get home, but I sucked it up and I was was on my way to play some U18 years, and then that fell through the age gap. They switched the era of the age, and then I could not perform and play my midget hockey in Quebec City, so I decided to make the move to Niagara Falls. And the reason I made that was when Marcel did ask the second summer he came to town, he asked, "You want to play some hockey?" I said, "I want to learn English." And he looked at my parents and said, "This kid's ready, man. I mean, he's mature." And as a fact, he'd come to the Colisée, he'd come to the Forum. I'd sit there and I look at the players and the way his lifestyle was. And I couldn't talk to Charlie Semmer, Dave Taylor, everyone that was around him. And I was really sad by that. I want to get closer to Marcel, and the Niagara Falls move was an excellent choice for me.
Yeah. So when you say you wanted to get closer to him, he was in LA at the time. How are you planning on doing that, or you just?
Well, you just think you get your hockey going, but not a chance. That you're playing junior B. Are you thinking your future career is going to be in the NHL? I don't think so. I think as a young kid, you trying the best you can. You want the opportunity, and this is where I went. When I went to move from Quebec to Ontario, the group that were surrounded in Niagara Falls, they didn't connect right away that he was my brother. They thought that it could be an uncle or a cousin from far. So I really had to earn my spot in sports and in hockey. But I just wanted to see, travel with him and stuff. I went in LA with him a couple of weeks in the summer, and I couldn't speak English. It was sad. It was not necessarily embarrassing, but you know what? It was learning curve for me, and that's the move that I make. And I'm very happy today that I get to do that.
Yeah, so you went to Niagara Falls, played a couple of years there, then Kitchener. Did you get drafted into junior?
Yeah, I got drafted into junior, and this one's a history one in 1989-90 era. I got drafted 19th round, which is, I believe, 268th.
Hey, that's where I was drafted, 19th round, but I was 231 by the Habs. Hello, there was 235 players taken.
Exactly, and I was at the draft. I was there from 8 a.m. I got drafted at 5 p.m. shook hands to the Kitchen Rangers staff, and they're like, "What the heck are you doing here?" I go, "Well, I thought I'd be going a little higher than this, but I'm very happy, and I want to have the experience to do it," and I did it.
So you went to the draft.
Yes,
Junior
I did.
draft.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So 88, 89, 90. God, you just missed playing against Marcel at the end too, right?
Correct.
That would have been
Nice.
awesome. But so you last year junior there, like 48 goals, 57 assists. Now you're gonna hopefully get drafted the NHL. Did you have a feeling you were gonna get drafted? Did you know you were gonna get drafted? What was the deal with that NHL draft? 90.
Finished up, as you can see, if you look at Hockey DB, my stats wise, I didn't spend 5-6 years in junior. It was like rookie year, second year, boom. Junior,
Yeah.
same thing. Rookie year, second year, boom. Moving on. Every couple of years, I was ready to make the move. Our years in 1990, luckily.
So you were the 18-year-old draft, right? Yeah. 18-year-old.
Correct. Yeah. I was an overage. Actually, I was an overage draft. I think it was at that time. It was an over, like, when you call these draft back then, if you're between 16 and 20, that was your year to get drafted, right? I was 19 at that time. I was didn't get my draft yet, 18 years old. I was more late, like you said, another late draft that I had an opportunity to make it. But luckily that year, Knuckles, they do this year, every year. So the OHL was hosting Memorial Cup, and they were supposed to go to Hamilton. But the Hamilton, I believe they were called Bulldogs. I forgot what they were called, but they were 11-48, the worst record in junior. And David Branch would not allow to have a losing team to be the host. So the Oshawa Generals on the west and the Kitchener Rangers on the east, we had a little best of 5 series and who was going to host. Both of us were moving on because we won our division, but we were fighting to see who was going to be the host of the Memorial Cup, and we snuck in through the back door and lost in double overtime to the iconic Eric Lindros.
Yeah.
You're 20 years old, but at that time we were told, hey, there's scouts in the stands. There are going to be scouts. If you have a great tournament, you should have a great opportunity, and that's what our coaching staff were telling us, scouting, say lots of guys will be with shirt, tie, and notebooks in their hands. They're going to be watching, and that's what motivated me to have a good tournament. And despite the loss, you're going home, taking the bus, Knuckles. We cry like babies because we're going, what's next?
Yeah.
We're done. We're going home. It's over, and go home to your parents. And luckily, Pierre Mondu was in the stands, and the Montreal Canadiens staff were there, and I got a chance to get drafted. So.
Yeah, and you did in 1990. The draft was in British Columbia in Vancouver. Did you go to the draft, or was that too much? Was the ticket too expensive?
Yeah, it was definitely not affordable to get out there. And once again, being picked out, 19th round in NHL, I don't think it was going to happen. So,
but you end up going.
But the draft was on TV.
Okay, so you're sitting home watching TV. Are you watching the draft?
Yeah, and my parents were watching the draft. I was sitting outside playing ball with my best friend Sylvain Fleury during my minor hockey in Drummondville, and my mom started yelling out the door, and she says, "You got drafted. We think you went to Buffalo. We think you went to the Sabres." So I snuck in. I went in, and because what happened is the TV was a little bit delayed. My parents saw the Buffalo Sabres on the big screen, but the Canadiens already drafted me, and they kind of misinterpreted what was happening. And it was Mr. Boudria that made the phone call. And shocked that I answered, I'm like, Canadians? What the heck? And he says, congratulations. We're going to send you, your jersey, a nice little bag, bunch of gifts, and more information to come. We'll see you in September for training camp. So
lucky you. Like, you know what? In 1978, it was the last year of the 20-year-old draft. Okay, my year. I got a letter 2 weeks later from the Canadiens saying, we're inviting you to training camp. That was it. No one called me, nothing. I got it. It was like, okay. And then Mr. Grumman, Howard Grumman, Irving's son, he was the road secretary. And when they were in Boston, I went up and introduced myself. And I said, geez, I'd like to go to the next game in Montreal, right? Bert, at the playoff game, they're playing the Bruins. So I said, well, can you leave me tickets? He said, yeah, I'll get you tickets. I get up there, I had to pay for the friggin' things. It's unbelievable.
I know.
The difference between I guess a first-round pick and a 19th round pick, you got to pay for your own tickets. But Yeah, so you get drafted, and you're going to go to Montreal, and, like, how cool was that for you? And what was that first experience like going to the NHL? And then what adjustments did you have to make coming out of junior? All of a sudden, here I am, okay, pro game, coming to training camp, first time. Are you intimidated? What? I can't see you being intimidated.
The intimidation was, first of all, you said that we get drafted the Canadiens. It should be, be proud. I was actually disappointed. They're going like, what do you mean by this one? I said, how the heck am I going to crack the lineup with the Montreal Canadiens lineup?
Yeah.
The best, you're winning Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup, came out of, 86, a Stanley Cup champion, 89, losing the finals. You're like, where's my spot fit? Where do I fit in here? But I went with a big heart. The training camp at that time, they went to Russia. And I'm not sure if you were on that team, Knuckles. You guys went up to Russia, and we were no chance we're going to be part of this camp. We had a mini camp in Montreal, in Verdun, and the rest of us, we all got sent down to Fredericton. They just kept a 26-man roster to go to Russia for training camp, and I stayed behind. And like you said, being in Fredericton, I created our own, right? We had to. You become professional. Your first big paycheck, you're representing the Fredericton Canadiens, that little town that welcomed us with open arms, treated us like gold, finding us a place to live. Like, the surrounding was amazing, and they wanted to make sure we were always going to be ready and the coaching staff ready in case of a call-up. So I really, really enjoyed my time in Fredericton.
I guess, and you ripped it up there too. I mean, come on, 77 games, you had 87 points, over a point a game, and then you end up coming up to the half. You played 39 games. Yeah, 21 and 13. You could score goals. What's the deal with that? Huh?
When you're surrounded by great teammates, in Fredericton, I play with Stéphane Lebeau and Jesse Belanger, and you got to wait your turn. So we were called the kid line in Fredericton. Paulin Bordelot was our coach. Let's not forget we had some senior players around us, but it seems like at that time their time was up, right? I mean, after coming after 4 or 5 years into the organization, and the kids were coming up like myself. And once again, those stories, Knuckles, I'm telling you that not at that time I realized this, is what I can figure out now that what we're doing, and the Tom Fergus, the Gauthier winning in line, like a lot of guys waiting their time to get up, and the Christopoulos and all these boys that we would look up to in the minors just didn't have that extra drive that we were getting an opportunity. And me and Brisebois, DiPietro, Belanger, we took advantage of our time, and luckily, how do you say luckily? And I apologize saying that, but we would have to wait for an injury, believe it or not. To get in the lineup, you get a couple of games here and there. They send you down for, hey, thanks for working hard, but you're going back down. Fortunately for me, and unfortunately for Mike McPhee, Spuds got hurt. He had a bad knee injury, and those 21 goals is thanks to him, because no way Serge was sending me down. Pat Burns was not too keen, but Pat and I, getting along or not as a player and as a coach, if he needed a goal, I'd go score one for him, right? But I mean, personality-wise, we would butt heads. But
did you get along with him, or I could see Burnsy wanting to tell you to shut up?
Yes,
shut up and play.
Yes, I've been told that once, and not to smile during practice, and I respected that. Didn't smile whatsoever.
Don't smile during practice. Don't have fun.
No, don't have fun. I came up with a couple of goals first start the night before, and Shane Corson says, "Don't listen to him." I go, "No, I'm scared now. I ain't going back to Fredericton. He's going to send me to Fredericton." But he would play me, Knuckles. He gave me my opportunity on the ice time. He knew. He knew I was going to get the goal. I'll go get something. The fact that my hockey style, playing style, was not for a lot of coaches, and they coached me. I was trying to get it done. I was getting it done.
But you had that knack of scoring goals, and you put up points in 92, 93. That Stanley Cup year. How, Christ, you had good numbers, 48 points, and you're not playing on a top line. You're chipping in big time. That's depth scoring, which all teams need, and it proves to pay off in the playoffs. God, 12 points in 20 games in the playoffs that year. You guys win a Stanley Cup, 10 overtime victories. What the hell was that like? That had to, I wanted to play one more year, Bert, right? And, I remember Jacques Demers and Big Serge. I talked to Big Serge, and he said, listen, Demers, we got you and we got Rob Ramage. You're both 34 years old. We don't want two guys that age, and Jacques wants Rammer. He had Rammer in St. Louis, and he wanted a defenseman, which I get. But I wanted to play that one more year in Montreal. And it's funny when I think back, right? My first year, I stayed in college. I didn't leave. I wanted to leave and come to Montreal. That would have been that fourth in a row. A good chance I would have got called up if I was doing all that fighting that year, right? So imagine I missed that Stanley Cup, okay, at the beginning, and then I missed one right at the end. Imagine if I never get that one in 86. I'd be pulling my hair out. And that's why when I see you getting that opportunity to win that Stanley Cup and winning it, your brother Marcel, again, just an incredible career he had, and he didn't get that sniff at the cup. How was that with Marcel? Did you twist a little on him?
Well, at least at the end of the day, we're both in the Hall of Fame. So I'm in the vault, obviously. My name's on the cup, and Marcel's all over, everywhere in the hall with breaking records and so many trophies he's won. So proud, right? When he says we did it, it meant to our parents like the last name Dionne did it to have the name on the cup. But let's not forget my rookie year. You were there, Knuckles, and till this day, how we would police ourselves as a team. I come in and all cocky, and you put me back, sit me back down and says, "Hey, kid, this is all fun and game, but you just got to respect this and that." And that's what made my career of listening to the elders, the guys with leadership, because knowing today that it was not easy for you to go out there, especially me opening my mouth up on the ice, and you'd have to fight the Proberts and all the big guys.
I never minded that. I love that.
But it's different job that you have, but it's not easy for everybody. And I really appreciate what you did. The older line did to me, and the guys, the enforcers around us. That's what made me anyway easier game out there to have protections like yourself.
So Bert, enough about Knuckles. Did Marcel come to the games in LA? He must have, right?
Yeah, and then at the end of the day,
how cool was that? How cool was that knowing he's up there watching you, you're playing in front of your brother now? You're saying at the beginning how you kind of yearned for that relationship to be around him because he was always gone. And now here you are playing for Stanley Cup, and that had to be incredible.
Well, yeah, his jersey.
For both years.
Yeah, and his jersey's up in the rafters at the Forum, right? At the LA Forum. And next to Vachon and the basketball players, right? And I'm like, what the heck is going on up here? Like, I had the shivers, right? I mean, when LA. And then in the Stanley Cup Finals, I had a couple of tickets for Marcel and my sister-in-law Carol to come and watch the game. And he was there to obviously enjoy the finals and had a great time. Yeah, we took pictures together in the room, and the rest is history, man. It was a fantastic, fantastic run.
Yeah, and listen, I remember in '86, and you had the goaltender for sure, and Patrick. But Patrick came in '86. He's a rookie. He was. I can't imagine how much he had changed from. And I got to see him at the end there a little bit. But how was Patrick? How was his leadership during that Cup run? Like, come on, 10 overtime victories. Yeah, listen, you guys, it's incredible. But for him to be on the winning end, because it wasn't like those overtime victories, he didn't have any shots on him, How was Patrick during that whole run?
He was not an overly verbally player in the dressing room, but I remember one and not too many times he would say, we're just not having a great game against the Bruins. We're down 3-1, I believe. We're getting between periods. And Patrick just finally, in this stall, he gets up and he tells everybody in English, he says, go get me the lead, and I won't let any more goals in. Just go get me the lead. And we all looked at each other. And Kirk Muller looks around, Vincent Danfus, and like, I guess, how are we going to do that? We went, got him to lead, and 60 shots later, we win 4-3. Like, that's the leader he was. He would just, and ask his defenseman, get the puck out. Like, that's how he was, control of the dressing room and then the team to say, he admitted to a bad game, and we're like, come on, Patrick, like, you're the best goalie in the world. We're having all a bad game, but he motivated us to get out there and get it done for him, and that's how Patrick is today, how competitive he is. It's unbelievable, but you can't teach that, man.
So that cup run, you win that Stanley Cup, and then 94, 95, you play 6 games with the Habs, and you end up getting traded. What goes on there? Because, I mean, come on, the year before, 19, you have 45 points, 74 games. Like, it's not like you didn't get it done.
A big year.
How come you end up getting moved?
We win the cup, and then lockout happens. So lockout, what's happening? We all have to go home. No training, no nothing, no ice time.
That's right.
Let's do the best we can, and then we just show up within 1 week of training. And Jacques Demers says, there's no ifs or buts. If you're coming out of shape, you're not doing great. We're benching players. We don't have enough time here to get ready. 3 months to win a cup is not, so get to play New York. Didn't have a great game, man. I get pulled out on that Tuesday, and Jacques Lepage sends me the videos, show me how slow I was. I was not on my feet, and I admitted it. I'm like, man, and New York Rangers was not my rink. I don't know why, but didn't feel great, and I got benched. So I was really bitter about being benched, and I said things I shouldn't have said. I said to the media.
Was it Jacques Demers?
Yep. So
still the coach.
So we're going home, and Jacques says you're not playing this weekend, and just be ready and work out rest of the week. But I just flat out says, I guess I have to play with like a chicken with the head cut off. Holy cow, Knuckles. This went front page. Montreal has no system. They're slow. They have no system. Don't know where they're going. Undeclared. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So
I didn't know this.
Then they went and got me a raw chicken, a raw turkey or chicken at the grocery store. They put it in my stall.
The boys did that, right?
Yeah, the boys, they taped the wings. I'm like, I was upset now. Like, this stuff, I'm still only like 25 years old, like 24, 25 years old, figured this thing out. Was kind of cruel. But, didn't have much time. I don't know if I had an opportunity. Once again, third line, trying to figure it out. And then other players getting ahead. And I said a few more things. John Leclerc would slowly start coming around a little bit.
Yeah.
Get a little more chances. I declared that Johnny had more opportunity than I did. And it didn't go well. It was time for me to go. I unfortunately, same things that I don't regret it. I said it.
Did Serge ever come and speak to you about that as general manager?
No, not really. I think Serge had his hands full. I think we figured out what happened within the 6 games. I knew I had to move, but I was so shocked that Leclerc and Desjardins was part of that trade for Mark Recchi to go to Philadelphia. I was shocked. I was okay to go. I knew prior. Jacques Demers told me that we were in Ottawa. I was not going to be playing. I'm getting traded, going to a nice place, good place, play with a good player. I'm like, okay, whatever. And sure enough, the next day I'm at the airport and I see Johnny coming in and Desjardins. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Totally shocked. Johnny was really looking forward to it, and look at his career. My goodness. Perfect
I know, right?
Johnny.
When
Great
you think
career.
of John Leclerc, right? And listen, that year I came back, my last year. I don't know if you were there that day when Burnsy was still the coach, and we were in Chez Paris. I don't know if you were there. We're all sitting around, Kirk, all of us, and John Leclerc's there, the big farmer from Vermont. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden we look over. He says to me, he says, oh, shit, there's the coach. I looked over. Burnsy come walking in, and he's standing right at the entrance, and he looks. He's looking over. John goes, fuck, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. I'm there, don't move. I said, you get up and leave now. He's going to think you're the biggest pussy. I said, matter of fact, send him a beer over. And we sent him a beer over, right? And John's there, are you sure? I'm there. If you walk out of here now, he's going to think you're the biggest wimp. And that's the worst thing he could do. So he's all, oh, I'm going to get sent down. I said, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
We got there the next day. He got sent. the next day he was like, oh, he was devastated, poor John. But he was still on the cusp there. He wasn't quite there yet. And it's too bad Burnsy walked in and saw him. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
listen, that's unbelievable. Like, it's hard, I guess, to see some guys what they didn't see in him, and what did Philly see in him? Like, what couldn't that? I mean, how many overtime goals did he score that Stanley Cup?
2. Yeah, big goals
two
against
big
LA.
ones. Yeah, against LA, right? And I'm not just that, but boy, to go on and have that career. And listen, he played with Lindros and the other kid, what was it Renberg?
Michael Ramberg, yeah.
Yeah.
Legend of Dooms.
And that's great, but I mean, guy, I have a hard time believing that they ever traded him, right?
Yeah.
It just goes to show you, right? Anybody.
Yeah, it worked out for him. It didn't work out. A 2-year, the 23 games I played in Philly, Bobby Clark signs me and Mr. Schneider at the end of the year, said, you'll score some goals, we're not worried. Signed me to a 2-year deal before starting a new season. I decided to stay in Philly the whole summer just to prove it. I think I don't know if there was a laziness or the out of shape thing was lingering on me for some reason. So I worked out with Dave Brown and a few local guys, and we were at the rink every day working out and proving that I'm ready to go in camp. Coming in, I played 1 game and then set 10, and they bought me out. I just truly did not figure out what was going on, and I never really asked. I'm 27 years old. I'm like, you're buying me out? Okay, give me my money then. I was trying to stay as quiet as possible, try not to stir any movement or
rock
stir
the boat.
pot. Rock the boat, which went totally against me for some reason. But anywho, it's just too bad. Then I end up spending a little more time in the minors. I got sent out to Carolina as a just a regular player and scored 48 goals that year. I think I don't know in 50 games. And the Florida Panthers, they're looking at this as a farm team. Florida Panthers goes, what the heck's going on? What do we have here? Where do we get this guy?
And what they do, they call you play 5 games there. But Christ, you had 43 goals, 41 goals, 42 goals, 35 goals, 34. What are they? I don't get why you wouldn't be in the NHL. And all right, you're not going to be a top line player, but scoring goals like that's depth scoring that every team needs.
Well, if I recall, we can track back a little bit during that time. We made a phone call to the Dallas Stars, and Bob Gainey is the manager.
Yeah.
And Bob Gainey called to my agent, bickering back and forth. We looking for Gilbert Spike. Goes, you know what? And that's what Bob said. He goes, it's almost like a salary cap thing back in the old day. He goes, okay, I have to move Gord Donnelly to have Gilbert in. So Gord's salary plus Gilbert, that's $900,000 US. I don't feel that you deserve that money, and that's what kind of locked me of like not having an opportunity anymore, because all those rosters in November was all done. They had the 53-man roster was all signed, and there was nobody going to take an opportunity to, my salary and another player's salary combined was close to $1 million US. I was not that type of player, which I don't blame them, but that was the negotiation factor what did hurt me to trying to make it back to the NHL.
Bert, when you look back at your career, and I get your brother had a big impact on you, but who might have been, I guess, that one teammate that had that impact on you that really, because when I think back, I look at Bob Gainey, the impact he had on me, and just helped me kind of navigate my way, because I was a loose cannon. I was, I need to be settled down, and Bob was one guy who could do that. He really had an impact on me. Did you have that one player when you look back at your career?
Well, I think the impact is all around. And let's not forget when I played Knuckles, and during your time, we had 10 French players and 8 English guys. Mm-hmm. So I moved myself a little bit around on both ends. And today, I don't understand why they don't have a roommate, but having a roommate on the road was the most important thing for me of watching hockey game on TV. So my roommates was Matthew Schneider and Vinny Danfus. So right. I have 2 great guys, a defenseman with tons of talent, and Vinny as an offensive forward that would just calm me down a little bit. And I get to play with Denis Savard. And let's not forget our captain, Guy Carbonneau, that was the one that just kept holding us all together. But to me, it was just a all around that 93 group is them that you could go to, and somebody to a Kirk Muller. You have issues, you go see Lalo DeLine, Mike Keane, because you could tell they're bringing around a long time. And with each individual of them, they were my icon, and trying to figure myself out with them, giving me some guidance. And that's what I really appreciated, the fact the time I was in Montreal, that these guys were there for me and helped me win the cup.
So, Bert, again, you go to Cincinnati there. You ripped it up in Cincy. And then 2000, 2001, your last season there. Then you go over to Germany, right? And played in Germany.
Well, the league folded, in IHL, the league folded, and I was not prepared to go back to American Hockey League, for minimum salary. And I thought I'd give it a chance to go to Europe, and not only for the money, but give it a try. Just give it a shot, see what's up.
Yeah. How was that experience? It's funny, like my last year there, I had an opportunity to go to Bolzano in the Italian league, and I'm like, I wanted to move my family back to Boston. My kids, I had 3 kids. I thought it'd be good to get them around the cousins, and I'm going to drag them all the way to Italy. I was like, I always kind of kick myself in the ass for not doing it. But it's a lot easier when you're a single guy than when you're married and have kids. You're going to drag them all over to Germany, and they can't speak a lick of English. I mean, German, and they can only speak English. But how was that experience? Was that?
But first year, I really enjoyed it because we had the imports. We were allowed 10 imports, and like 8 of them were Canadian, or at least North American hockey players. It was awesome. The Jeff Christian, Mario Doyon, Dan Lambert, Gary Shuchuk. I'm looking, I said, is this an American Hockey League? Like, it's the whole league felt like I kind of knew everybody. Still a professional league, the DEL. And very hard. And the classic 2 practices a day on a Tuesday, and the Germans, it felt like a soccer event every time. They're cheering on us, that smoking in the stands. It was unbelievable, like so puffy out there. 3-quarter roof building, some beautiful building could host, Cologne could host 15,000 people. Our building in Krefeld was 3,000 to 4,000, but some outdoor rinks like Mannheim, playing outdoor, 3-quarter roof was fantastic experience, and I'll never forget it.
How about the culture? Did you soak it all in when you were there? Get out.
I soaked it all in, and for some reason, learning a third language was a little quicker for me. But hockey guys would stick together, but some were having a harder time. So we made sure we were close to each other in apartments or whatnot, but we'd hang out a lot. But a couple of guys were having a hard time leaving their family behind, and we'd leave them months at a time, right? It was not easy, but we made it happen. We stuck together. My German, Dutch language was not too bad at that time. I lost it all now, but got sick of ordering the same food, so I figured out, okay, let's try a little harder here than just ordering a beer.
Big jug. So Hanover, you played last year there, and you decide to hang him up, or what's the deal there? You didn't want to go back? Or?
Yeah, my late wife just looked at me and says, "Are you done having fun?" I said, "You know what? You're right."
Your ex-wife, not your late
my ex-wife. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my ex-wife Heather. Just at that time, we just had to move. And don't forget, during those era, 9/11 hit. We're in Germany. We're getting bombarded everywhere. It was very, very hectic and very nerve-wracking. So we had to stay put. Heather was still in Cincinnati with my 2 kids at the time, so we weren't moving at all. And that scared me a little bit. And I just decided to go, you know what? Well, I'm still in good shape, 34 years old. Why don't we call it quits? And hopefully I get a job when I get home and move on and look after my family and be as close as I can with the family.
So that transition, and again, some guys stay in the game, some guys get out of the game. Did you aspire to stay in the game in some capacity, or were you like, I've had enough, I'm going to move on? And how was that transition for you?
Yeah, it was a little rough. I took a year off to try to figure out where am I going with this. And I swear to what I saw back in the days, you have your Regent Wool as a Molson sales rep, the Jimmy Man running a truck in Molson. I go, I'm going to go work for Molson. So excited. I'm going to work at a brewery somewhere. I mean, it was not as easy as I didn't end
Right.
up to be, but just didn't want to be into hockey because I don't know if I had it as teaching it. I was better being taught than teaching it, but didn't want to do, once again, get involved in coaching in junior. You're there 2 years, you get fired and move around. I just had enough of not being around the family and the kids, and I had a great life, great hockey career in 13 years, went all over the place, got the original 6 arena to play, the Quebec Nordique, the best hot dogs around, to the New York Rangers. When the Ringling Bros would come, it stunk, like elephant shit. And, I'm going like, this is awesome. Boston Garden, getting booed and hit by fans because you're on the face-off. They're yelling at you. And get home, you frog. And I'm like, holy cow, I'm going to get beat up here.
What was your favorite rink? Did you have a favorite building to play in?
I think I always
Other
bring
than
this
the
back.
Forum. Other than the Forum, if
And I'm using the Boston Garden because I think their rivalry was so insane and intense, and same like the Nordiques. But going to Boston was unbelievable. How small the rink was, how intimidating it was. Then not even one single player, Knuckles, even myself, even though I'm not a physical player, we all had an ice pack after the game. Somewhere, ankle hit, anything, you're bruised up. You're going home. Win or lose, you're bruised up by the big bad Bruins, and it was.
Oh, you knew you were in a game, that's for sure, when you were there.
Absolutely, there's no room. I got my jaw broken there. I hated going there, but I mean that's the favorite part of the game that I remember, a rivalry of the '80s, '90s of the big bad Bruins and the Habs. It was an absolute good time.
Right, and when you think of how, I don't want to sound like a pussy here, but. It's kind of unfair that at the time you were able to have a different size rink than other, right? Because they built their team around that small rink, right? Yep. And now all the rinks are standard size. But back in the day, people don't get that. Can you imagine some of these kids today playing in that old Boston Garden? We're the red line. We're the red line.
That's the red line. I'm trying to tell people on top of that. I'm going like, we were getting pinched all the time, man. That was not easy playing in our time. He said, the game looks slower. I go, well, because we had the red line. We could not go offside.
Yeah, we couldn't take off.
Pass the puck. Yeah, it was very hard. But the game has gone fast. I'm watching it a lot. I can't wait till tomorrow what's going to happen with the Four Nations, U.S., Canada.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We can't turn back at the time. I don't know. I miss the good old days of let's figure this out. I'll see you next Tuesday. We used to check at the schedule. I'll get back at them. Whoever you be playing, whoever got you under your skin, and you knew you're going to face that player again and have some sort of a fight or a brawl or defend yourself somehow, right? I mean, and the minor leagues was even a lot harder than that, than the NHL, to protect yourself and have guys get to protect you.
So when you look at today's game, one, what do you think of it? And two, would you do anything? Say you're the commissioner for a day. You're going to be Gary Bettman for a couple months, and you got to make some changes. What would the changes be that you would make? And what do you think of the game today?
The stick handling is unbelievable. Like I'm watching McDavid, it's unreal, and especially unfortunately I live in Toronto, so I watch a lot of the Leafs. Nylander is unbelievable what he can do with a puck and while still moving his feet. How quick release is Matthews with the puck. Those guys, and Tavares still using the old-time hockey style he has. He's in front of net, gets his nose dirty, a tip in. I like that old-style hockey. Of today's, I don't know, Knuckles. I don't know what to change. I'm really not sure where the game is going. It's super fast. It's dangerous. I think some players are forgetting that it is still a body-checking game. And if it feels like to me, I think this player doesn't feel he hasn't got hit in 3 games, and then he plays another team, physical team, and boom, gets caught his head down, and now all of a sudden some fights, a brawl, 10-game misconduct, suspension, and I'm like, ooh, man, I don't know about that. But it's at the end of the day, it's not going to be me telling what to do. If the audience stop watching, then we're in big trouble. It's very expensive to go to a hockey game, but yet the buildings are selling out. The ones that I go to, the Leafs are selling out everywhere they go. But unfortunately, it's to them to figure it out, Knuckles. I just enjoyed to be an alumni.
But I want you to figure it out. Come on, bro. Don't take the easy way. Listen, here's the deal. How about this one? Right? Now, I look at the league, And I know one thing. They got fighting down to where they can kind of live with it for now. Like they don't want it all the time, and it's not good for TV in the States. It's great, they think it's going to turn fans away. Now, the rivalries, we talked about it, Boston, Montreal. There's no rivalry there anymore.
No.
They never see each other in the playoffs. Back in our day, right, you played 8 times, played 4 there and 4 at home. So by the time playoffs come around, you guys, we hated each other. We were sick of each other. And you got those passionate, like intense and somewhat violent hockey games. But they were, fans love that. They loved it.
Yeah.
Look, the other night with the 4 Nations,
Yeah.
right off the hop, what happened? Everybody in that building was on their feet. People that watch it from afar are saying, man, the NHL got it right. All of a sudden, they think it's cool to fight because you're playing for your country. What's that? Like, I just think, when I look at it, and Bobby Orr said it, and I always bring it up, but he said, if these guys are so good today, all right, they're so good with the puck, they're great skaters, they're fast, they're quick, they can all handle the puck, they can all shoot the puck. Why don't they put the red line back in and see them come up the ice together as a group and pass their way? But I think the NHL is so scared of the trap. They're so scared of that slowing the game up. They want it as fast as they can possibly get it. But faster doesn't always make it better. I get sick of seeing that long pass, chip it in, boom.
Yeah. I'm confused. I'm confused with also the penalties. Is this a call or not? You just touch his hand. It's a slash.
Yeah.
Just rough it up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with having some bruised, wrist and stuff. And we had to put some extra padding over here because we're getting slashed. And if you're a defenseman, you're supposed to defend, but the defense can't defend no more. So the rules are they're not for me. They're not for me. Like you said, the rivalry of back in the old days, I'd go against the Bruins and took a beating by Glenn Featherstone. I couldn't wait to go back to Boston, not necessarily fight him. I fought 2-3 times. I never won one, but I showed up though. Got the gloves and
there you
protect
go.
myself. But the only way to get it back was to go get a big goal or to just go beat them in the score, right? That's what rivalry is all about. Of never forgetting. But in today's hockey, it's changed. Let's not forget now, because back in the old days we had 1 or 2 cameras watching us. Now there's cameras everywhere. So if you have a lazy moment, you have a player is doing something, he's caught on TV all the time because they're watching one player. You have your camera's on the whole game. So it's really not fair. But back in those days, we were allowed to get away with a few cheap shots. At the end, cameras not watching or whatnot to make the game a little more interesting. But I feel sorry for these kids. I have no idea what's going on in the dressing room, if they enjoy themselves. I don't see them talking on the bench like we used to talk. Like I don't know what they're covering their mouth. They're afraid to.
They're looking at the iPad.
Stupid iPad.
I hate that thing.
17 coaches behind the bench can't tell you what's going on. You got to read your iPad. Like it's weird. It's not for me.
It's funny. Like when I think I got that opportunity to play with you and your brother in New York, and I'll never forget Marcel when I first got there. It was funny, and then it's so funny. Phil Esposito, listen, Marcel was near the end of his career. Phil goes and gets Marcel. Guy Lafleur was retired, and then Phil comes to me and he says, "Hey, can Lafleur score 20 goals?" I said, "Are you thinking of seeing if he'll come here?" He said, "Oh yeah, are you kidding me? I want him and Marcel together. It'd be unbelievable." I'm like, he can score 20. And Guy, I think he got 18 that year, but I think he was hurt for 18 games or something, or 17 games. He definitely would have scored 20. But I couldn't believe Phil was doing this. Do we want to win here or
put on a show?
For me, it was awesome to get an opportunity to play with your brother and Guy, to see that dynamic. And for Guy, it was even better for me because I saw him in Montreal. I saw what he went through there and how people, I mean, he's like a god there. And then his retirement and how hard that was on him. And he wasn't real happy. Who is when they retire? But when you talk about real happiness, Guy was kind of bitter. And then he comes out of retirement, he comes to New York. It was so awesome to see him, Bert, away from Quebec. And here he is in New York. It was like he got lost in the city. No one bothered him. It was a whole different experience for him. So I thought it was so cool from that aspect. Marcel, obviously, he was in L.A. He had been in the States for years. But Guy had never been. And it was it was something to see. It was.
I believe it was a little bit of bittersweet from Marcel too, Knuckles, that the decision after, it was kind of fun both playing together, but I believe that you couldn't keep two 40-year-olds in the lineup, and Marcel I think decided to go, I'm out of here. Get along with Bergeron or at that time Michel or not, or what decision was made.
Bergie loved them. Bergie didn't. It's Marcel. It's Guy.
But Marcel says, I'll go to Denver, and stubborn, little beaver he is. He goes, I'm sucking that up, and you're gonna pay me, and he ended up going to Colorado for a little bit and in the minors to finish his contract. But at the end of the day, I think it was kind of cool to see them both. But that's an Esposito to move. So
we had a few laughs. We went to Banff one year, right? We're up in Banff, and we're all, we had a couple days, so we're all at the bar, and I was with Ron Greshner, and me and Gresh were playing darts, and there's Marcel with John Ogrodnik standing at the bar. They're over at the corner. They got their scotches. Me and Gresh are drinking beer, doing shots. They got their scotch, right? And they must have been talking about the stock market. So I goes, Gresh, watch this. So I took the dart and I unscrewed the point off it. So it's just a feather, but it was still
the plastic heavy. And the feather,
Yeah, but it was still heavy. Like it had it didn't have the point on it, but it had the metal on it.
Yeah.
And I said, watch this. So I go, Marcel, and I fired the dart, and I hit him right here with it, but there was no point on it. You should have saw the two of them. Their drinks went up in the air. The two of them. Marcel, he wanted to kill me. It was hilarious. He said, you bastard. Oh, we had a few laughs. God. So, a lot of fun. So, Bert, you got 5 children, right? The kids play hockey?
My second youngest, he's 20 years old, plays some junior hockey here in Ontario. Not the junior you guys know. It's a C level kind of all Ontario junior C in a small community outside of Kitchener-Waterloo, and going probably in the playoffs now and final year next year in overage. But not as fairly, my kids didn't compete as hard as probably I should have. Maybe could have pushed them, but not a chance. Too expensive. Moving families around again. They would have wanted to probably, but I'm very happy where they're at right now. They're all my kids are doing great. I got 3 grandkids. I have 2 grandkids and 1 on the way. So this is nothing but fun time right now. And living in Ontario, working for a Tillman paper cup company, and starting a new life again. So doing great. And once again, repeating myself, how much the alumni, the Canes alumni, the Flyers alumni, with Brad Marsh in Philly, amazing what we can accomplish all together. You play one game, you play 1,000. We're an alumni forever with hockey. It's so much fun to all see each other again and reminiscing some great stories. And I'll never forget so many of them out there and fun times. Yeah.
Right. A lot of fun times. Well, listen, Bert, thank you for taking the time, buddy. Awesome. I'm glad that you got that Dionne name on the Stanley Cup. And, Marcel.
And
God.
I appreciate
How is Marcel?
He's great. He's doing his thing. I think he's doing great.
Yeah.
Don't spoke to him as much as we should to each other, but it is what it is, right? Big family. We go one direction, and and so to go. But with that said, Knuckles, thank you so much for what you do, right? Your podcast, fantastic. Instagram.
Appreciate it.
We're watching you. Thanks for what you do for Liam Foundation. That little guy, man, just
thank
brings
you.
a smile on us. But keep up what you're doing. Both.
Are you going to come to the golf tournament? You're going to come to the golf tournament?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
July
date it is.
14th. I'll send the invite out. Check it out, and if you get time,
Yeah,
I'd love
July
to have
14th.
you, so.
We'll keep an eye. So thank you so much. Enjoy the weather in Hawaii, and hopefully to
I
see
will.
you at the Bell Center. Centre Bell, mon ami.
All right. See you.
Okay,
Bon
cheers.
journée. Merci.
Okay. Ciao.
Okay. Bye, Bert.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Raw Knuckles with Chris Nilan on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.